my night. Not just kidding. Okay, so hi, my name's Ramon. Currently, I drive a 2002 Kia Rio. It's one of 4 cars that I have. First one's being my 1996 Buick Century station wagon, and then my other one is actually a 1994 Mazda Miata MX-5, and I have another Buick Century that we don't really talk about. Other than that, then I kind of just daily drive this one for now. It's a future rally car, so I guess we can talk more about that later.
So, tell me how you got into the car community.
Okay, so when I was a kid, this is gonna sound so dumb. So when I was a kid, I grew up around cars a lot, and I grew up like on YouTube, obviously like a lot of people nowadays. So at first, actually, I wanted to be a YouTuber, and I wanted to buy a Koenigsegg. And I was like, well, YouTubers get paid a lot, right? So let me just do that. They don't get paid a lot, so eventually I just phased out of it. But what got me more into cars really was a lot of Need for Speed. I grew up poor as a child, so I mean, I still kind of am. But anyways, I grew up poor, so I played Need for Speed Most Wanted. The 2012 one, 2005 is okay. 2012, I grew up playing that a lot, and that's what kind of introduced me to a Koenigsegg. Hot Pursuit was also one of my main childhood games as well. So I'd say Need for Speed got me into like cars and learning a little bit about cars, I guess. But also like, I guess kind of having a stepdad that really knew about cars as well. And he worked at AutoZone for a little bit. So I guess I kind of picked up a little bit on it. But it's really more of like growing up playing games, like racing games, and being like, that's cool. Like I like that, you know? But I'd say that's about it.
So, who or what sparked your passion?
So, I guess it kind of goes back to the Need for Speed stuff, but I also grew up like watching like Fast and Furious, so it's also kind of that. But there wasn't really like anyone in particular that kind of sparked my interest in cars. It was really more just like media and stuff like that. But I will say that I did get quite a few people into cars. So like my family kind of turned into a car family after I started getting into cars a lot. So I guess just the media really, just the games and movies and stuff kind of really like, that's cool, I want to do that. I don't know.
So nobody in particular, just cars, movies?
No, not really.
So here comes the good question for you. Tell me the story about your cars, where they're at today.
Which ones?
All of them.
All of them?
Every single one that you've owned since birth.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I guess we'll start with Henry. Henry, obviously, 1996 Buick Century station wagon. I bought that one for like $560 back in like September of 2021. So I've had that car for quite a while now, about at least 3 years now. So that one, I bought it while I was a senior in high school, and I specifically bought it for the simple reason that at my first job, I was getting off the clock at 10 o'clock, but not getting home till 12 o'clock because my parents were getting a divorce and they were constantly fighting. So I never really had a ride home. So I was like, you know what? I gotta get a car. So I posted on Facebook. It was like a Lubbock buy and sell trade group. It was like, you know, post any cars, like any cheap cars or whatever. And a lot of people were like, kind of started to get into it. So they kind of started taking all the cars. I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool car. Like it's cheap, it's nice, it's reliable, whatever, right? It was sold because some guy saw that I was trying to buy a car and was like, let me just steal this kid's car real quick. But eventually, the guy that was selling my wagon was like, you want this? I'm like, sure, how much? He's like, $500. Okay, well, it needs a battery. I don't have battery money. He's like, okay, give me like $60, I'll go buy a battery from Walmart. Okay, so in total I paid $560. Kind of going towards the day that I actually got him, it was just me and him talking back and forth about how and win, I'm gonna go up there and get it. And when I showed up there, I was actually with my buddy Noah, and he took his truck up there, and I sit there, look at him dead in the eyes. I'm like, you have to promise me that you're not gonna laugh to see what I just bought. He's like, it can't be that bad, right? So I told him exactly what it was to Google it, and I shit you not, he literally looks at me and starts like just laughing. I'm like, look, I know it looks goofy, just trust the process, right? I'm gonna get rid of it, I'm gonna sell it, I'm gonna trade it, do something with it, right? Get something more cool. So me and him walked down to this guy's like house. He literally lived in an off-brand rental park. So imagine this trailer house with like just scrap cars and everything that's all around it. And underneath the little tree was just Henry, and he was kind of like doing something to the engine bay. I can't remember what, but I know he was messing with this, so that like I would buy it. But he sat there, turned around, noticed it was me. He was like, "Oh, hey, here for the wagon, like it's ready to go." And I'm like, "Okay." So he showed me around it. It was like, you just got to fix this thing or whatever, and it like runs. I'm like, well, I mean, it's running right now, so I'm gonna take it as it is what it is. Oh well. But when I bought it, I didn't have insurance, obviously. I didn't have registration. I didn't have a license. Nothing. I was illegal as fuck driving this thing. So I bought the wagon, and I started driving it down the road. And all of a sudden, my buddy Noah, he stops me. He's like, "Hey, like, wait, stop." And I told him, like, "Why? What's up?" He goes, "You're leaking something." I go underneath, and I'm leaking fuel. I'm leaking fuel from like the fuel filter that connected from the oil fill line. So I was leaking gas in there a lot. So I turned it around and told him, like, "You're gonna fix this, and either that or you just give me my money back and I just go like fuck off or something." So he fixes it. I eventually drive back to my house, and while I'm driving home, I'm sitting there and I'm realizing like I just bought a car by myself, and like I felt proud, but I also felt like really scared because my parents, I knew that they were going to kick my ass, and they were going to, but then they realized that they weren't going to because now they have another way to ground me or something. I don't know. I didn't really know there was logic behind it, but on the way home, I sat there and I started thinking about stuff. I'm like, I just bought a car. What other to do than give it a name? So I'm sitting there and I'm coming up with all these names. I can't remember exactly what all these other names were. At first they were like girl names, but I'm like, nah, this isn't a girl. Like, it has to be a guy because there's no way that this old Buick is gonna be like a chick. So I was like, okay. Thinking all these guy names, and it hits me like Henry. I'm like, that's a really nice name. Like, I like Henry. So eventually I get home, my parents get mad at me. Oh well, it is what it is. Wake up the next day, and I take it to work. And I was so excited because I get to drive by myself for like the first time. So I drive from my house, I used to work at the Food King on 82nd and Slide, and I used to live over there at like kind of the Centennial area, I guess. So that's a really far drive. And the thing is, the alternator was taking a crap on me and I didn't realize it. So I'm driving to work, and all of a sudden I'm sitting here at a red light and it shuts off. And sit there, start it, continue back to work, come back home from work, and I'm just mad. Like, I'm just like, dude, I just bought this piece of shit car. Like, I hate it so much. But eventually, over time, I did learn how to work on it. I did fix a few things, and I did kind of start to get into custom fabrication because there's not a lot of aftermarket support for these kind of cars, really. So you either gotta engine swap it to something that is aftermarket, or just deal with it. Well, over time, I did look into engine swaps, and I did look into other stuff, but we'll skip this long story real quick. But with Henry, it was really more of a lot of trial and error, just because I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but I also did, because I did take an auto like tech class in high school, like 2 years. So I knew what was going on. It's just I didn't know how to approach it because I'm a high school teenager. I have no money, and I'm just trying to make ends meet. So eventually, I did get to the point where Henry was currently like running perfectly, and this is maybe like a year or maybe a year and a half after this. Like me and Henry have been all over the place in Lubbock. Like It's insane. But eventually, Henry, he did start to have a little bit of issues. And I used to live in Levelland because I had moved from Lubbock back to Levelland. Levelland is like my original hometown. So I'm staying there with my brother. And one day I just decided, I was like, you know what, I want to push him. So one night I was leaving work and he was already having issues. And I feel so dumb for doing this. But I drove from the AutoZone on 4th and Frankfurt all the way to Levelland at like 10 o'clock at night, doing like 115 miles an hour for 30 minutes straight. And I blew up the engine, oil and coolant, nice chocolate milkshake, worked both my head gaskets were just destroyed, and then like my thermostat was just not having it, and it was just really bad experience. So even though Henry was insanely reliable at that time, just even though I did pretty much blow him up, he still ran and he still drove. He just overheated. Currently right now though, he's at my buddy's house. Put in a different engine swap. Or I put in a different engine in it. I put in General Motors 3.8, still front wheel drive. It's got the 4T60E transmission. Currently not running right now just because I'm dealing with wiring. Like the engine's in, everything's in. It's just little stuff. Got to do the wiring. It should run. It's been really more of like, okay, I think this is the problem. I fixed something and it does help a little bit, but it doesn't run. He did start just for a little second the other day, but obviously he's not here, so it is what it is. But he's kind of just sitting there now. But that's kind of just a little story about Henry, just real quick. I will say that is probably, out of all the cars I've ever driven, that still has to be my favorite car, just because I have been through so much with that car, and it means so much to me. Like, I just can't really let go of it. Continuing the question, my second car is this 2002 Kia Rio. It's got the 1.5 inline four. It's front wheel drive, little 4-speed automatic. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a future rally build. So what I plan to do is I'm working on getting better suspension for it, and then working with the front end suspension to help kind of like make sure it doesn't like the body roll just doesn't like slide, because it's blown. Like if I really wanted to, I can walk over here and simply push it down and it goes down like a log. And it also makes a weird ticky noise from the like wheel that I can't really figure out. But that's a future Ramon problem. With the Kia, I plan to put in the rally suspension. I also plan to K-swap it maybe, and manual swap it. So this one right now, it's really more just a daily, just because out of 4 cars, only one runs. I will say this thing is an absolute trooper. I actually bought this off my friend for $200. It was a $200 car, and all it needs is new tires that I always push because I'm looking at rims as well. So new tires, like shocks and struts, and alignment, ball joints, tie rods, like a lot, like little like suspension stuff, right? Just don't really do it because I want an aftermarket rally suspension because it's a future rally car. I want to take it to Clunker Cross, and if something bad ever happens at Clunker Cross, I will turn this into a street car. But with the Kia, she used to be like a farm car, I guess. So I guess that's kind of the reason why I want to push her to be a rally car, just because she's already been off-road. With the Kia, I haven't had it for that long. I've had it since last July. Like I said, I bought off my friend for $200. I literally saved this car from going to Wrenching Park. And I was going to send it to Wrenching Park the day I got it. I was going to take some stuff off of it, send it over there, get my $200 back. And then I realized, it's like, you know what? I kind of like this car. So it's not the prettiest thing. She does have her own lore, just as much as the wagon. But to keep things short, currently the daily driver, future rally build. I do have a whole parts list of just everything I want to do. I do have plans for it, just no money. Henry just kind of takes most of that money, and so does the third car, which we're fixing to talk about right now. My 1994 Mazda Miata NX-5. Her name is Boo. So I have Henry, I have Rita, and I have Boo. So Boo is a bit of a mess right now. So I bought her, or I traded her from another Miata that we don't really talk about. I traded her for this Miata. Or I traded my Indy Miata for Boo, my NA Miata now. And with this NA Miata, I can't really explain on what's going on with it just because, yes, it has been done before, but with this European engine swap, I just don't really want for people to kind of sit there and be like, oh, well, that sounds cool, I want to do that. But I will say that, and I don't want to kind of glaze myself here, but a lot of people don't really understand on how menacing and how bad this Miata is going to be. Like, I really, really want to do cool stuff with it, stuff that a lot of people just don't do. Like, it's just, a lot of people will go and buy like a Mustang or like a Hellcat or a Camaro or Corvette. Yeah, that stuff's cool, except for Hellcats. I actually do not like Dodge or Chrysler, any Chrysler product. Everybody will go out there and buy something, and nobody will do anything original. It's always the same stuff. And no offense to the Miatas of Lubbock if they're watching this, which I know that they might be, but y'all are kind of mid, I'm not gonna lie. I know my group isn't the best, Sundown Riders were not the best, obviously, but if we're being completely real, every group in Lubbock is mid in their own ways. The Miatas of Lubbock, just somehow though, nothing bad against them. Love those guys, right? Jason, my boy, Haley, Savion, you know, dude is fucking like all of them. David, all the motherfuckers, they're fucking cool as hell, right? You know, I love their community. I've cruised with them once. It's just, I like speed. I like going fast. So this Miata is definitely, it's not gonna be just a little kind of basic Miata, I guess. I really plan for it to be something unique, something that's just like, wow, you know? And I know I'm talking a lot of smack for somebody that's driving a car that can't even hit 100 horsepower stock, but this Miata, Boo, will definitely live up to her name. The fourth car, it is definitely an interesting one. It's another Buick Century. However, Henry originally was supposed to be a car that I can get in, just drive far away, drive wherever I want to. Henry is going to be a supercharged, turbocharged, dual turbo build. It is just like, I have everything I need. I just need it to run. And it's golden. Running it for a little bit, and then go from there, right? Do whatever I want. This other Century is actually a VIP build. So this VIP build, picture a Lexus LS400. It has some really, really nice three-piece wheels. It has like the chandelier, the VIP, just VIP everything, just nice, right? Now picture a little Buick Century like that, a little boxy guy, kind of like it. But on bags, three-piece, and a nice tint, and a nice interior. It doesn't take that much for a car to look nice. You can do a lot of things to your car, but a lot of people will sit there and tell you that it's not the build. There's only a few, in my opinion, there's only a few stuff that you can do that makes it look really well. You can do a lot of stuff. If I were to put a really big GT wing on this thing and have it look like this, it's clapped. However, if I were to go for a true like rally build, like actually make like everything, like fitment does a lot. The way it sits does a lot. There's a lot to it. So this VIP Buick Century that I'm working on is really going to be more about that. Like it's gonna have, I want it to be aesthetically pleasing. It may not have the power behind it. I will put power behind it. I may 3.8 swap this one, but judging with Henry, I'm I'm not having a very good time with that. But this VIP build will eventually have some power behind it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do just yet. I do want to do another 3.8, but I'm still looking at my other options. But for sure though, I already have an idea what I got to do. It's just it doesn't run. Whenever I was buying it, I bought this one for $400. So $400 Buick Century. It's actually cheaper and it looks a lot better than Henry, my first car. So with this one, it needs more wiring and it just needs a little bit of stuff. Like it needs a new oil change, needs a new battery, an oil change, little stuff like that, right? You know, pretty much stuff that anybody can really do, kind of. Really depends on whether or not you like to send your cars to shops like Apple of Car Scene here or whatever, you know, be rich. But hey, I'm just talking shit because I strap Kia, so it is what it is. Just kidding. But that's kind of really all of my cars. I do plan to get some more. There's my 5th one that I'm looking at already, and my 6th and my 7th. So I want a lot of cars. I just don't have the money to get a lot of cars. So enough yapping. I guess that's pretty much answers your question. That's a little bit of lore about my cars.
So, what's the favorite thing about your cars?
Another yap session. Okay. All right. Here we go. So one thing about Henry, I'm one of 5 in Lubbock, meaning that there's not a lot of people there. When I got Henry, a lot of people thought he was cool. And I guess I like the attention a little bit, just because of something different, something new, right? But it was really more like nobody drives a Buick in the Lubbock car scene, so I kind of like that title. Now, when I was first in the Lubbock car scene, and a lot of people still call me it, it's every now and then, you're the kid with the wagon. I am that kid with the wagon, and I miss that wagon a lot. But I guess I will say, the one thing I really liked about Henry the most, it's just the 90s feel, really. There's a lot of things I love about him, but I will say the 90s just, I love it so much. Like it's just, you get in it, you don't get hit by like a million LEDs. It's just something nice. It's something like just, it's really calming, I guess. You know, you sit there, he didn't have the best sound system as well, but the rides in Henry were just so fucking awesome. So I guess just driving him was really the best. And just, I guess the attention as well. The Kia is a hot pile of garbage. There's really nothing to like about this car. It's slow, it's ugly, there's no aftermarket, but I will say, if you are driving a lifted Ford F-150, F-250, whatever fucking truck you're driving, and you have to go slow over a little bump in the road, I don't give a fuck. This Kia is flying over it. So I will say, the one thing I like about this car is the fact that it is so messed up, I can't even mess it up anymore. I needed some wood. Anyways, I could just fly over something, and I don't have to worry about it. While everybody else, especially my car group, we're driving, everybody else is slowing down. There's just me just flying. Like, I don't care. So that's my favorite thing about this one. But also just because it's really nice to kind of see one of your remaining cars greet you at the end of a long day of work. But I guess that goes for everybody. But my Miata. So this one is kind of really more of like cringy and goofy. But me and my girlfriend, we had always talked about building a Miata together. And she doesn't really put too much effort into it just as much as me. No offense, you're not gonna watch this anyways. But with the Miata, Boo reminds me of my girlfriend just a little bit. They both always have that little smile, I guess. And like I said, I don't want to make this sound like cringy or anything, but the one thing that I like the most about the Miata is obviously it reminds me of my girlfriend just a little bit, just because me and her, we've always talked about building a Miata together. And now that I'm actually being able to do this, it's a good feeling. But I really, really miss my loud, long tube header Miata. that spat flames. But it was a manual, so it was a really fun driving experience. The fourth one doesn't run. I haven't done anything with it. When I bought it, actually, I regretted buying it because I hate doing wiring. I'm sick of wiring. I'm sick of wiring so much. It's just wiring. That's it. That's what I would say I like the most about my cars. The fourth one can go fuck itself. For now, at least.
I know. I met you whenever you had your Miata. That thing's freaking loud, man.
I miss her so much.
Here we go. What's your first memory with all your cars?
No! So, with Henry's a lot. Mine would truly have to say with Henry is when I was driving him back home after buying it, Noah was sitting right in front of me, right there in MLK. I went to turn right, and I shit you not, he literally just stopped and locked up and went over the curb. So now I'm sitting here in 5 o'clock traffic with all these cars coming my way and all these cars like waiting at a green light or at a red light. I sit there and stop, and I'm freaking out because this is like, he won't start, he won't go into neutral, he won't do anything. Eventually, he did put his shit, and he did like kind of back up, and I just drove casually home after that. And I realized at that point that that car was going to like kind of give me the most trouble, but I think that's what makes Henry Henry, is he has his own personality. So my favorite first memory that I had with him was just me kind of getting to know him, I guess. Just really more of like learning on how this car works and how it is. So I guess that's my first favorite memory. Rita has always had really bad alignment issues. So my car group has this thing called the time trial. The time trial is basically you start at a Best Buy or whatever, you go make a way around the loop, hop on the interstate, go back from the interstate up to the airport, hop back onto the loop, go back to Best Buy as fast as possible. You have to be 21 minutes and 16 seconds. Rita was the car that made that, and while she was doing that time, she had really bad alignment issues, so her inner tires have, and still probably do, I wouldn't doubt it. I could probably rub my hand in my tire and I could probably feel metal, but when I was driving her, around that time, just because I wanted to set it real quick, kind of make a little, like you have to beat this time, her tire blew out on me. So here I am doing like 65 miles an hour on the interstate, tire blows out on me, and I literally, shit you not, almost got hit by a semi, and I had to like get on the side of the road, and it sucked because I missed my exit. It is what it is. So I had to like go back and like redo that little part. So it did suck. While I was in there, I realized how cheap this car is made. I grabbed the radio and literally ripped it out. Like I have a video of me doing it. Like it's so cheap and it's so easy. And I just slapped it back in place. Like it's mint. It's good. It is what it is. That's really my first memory with this car. But I was friends with the chick that did have this before me. So I do have more memories of the car. But we'll go with my answer just on that one real quick, just because there's a lot more. Boo. My favorite memory wasn't even me driving her. My favorite memory was towing her. I had my buddy Beamer Boy tow her from Littlefield to Lubbock. And the entire ride, I was just sitting there thinking about, like, dude, I got one of my dream cars. And it was such a really, really good feeling. I felt bad trading my NB, but it was a really good feeling. And parts of me every now and then sits there and asks myself, is it worth it? But parts of me kind of wants to say, it's definitely worth it. So, my favorite memory with Boo, like, yeah, I loved driving her. I just loved the way she sounded. But my favorite memory with her is just realizing that I finally got one of my dream cars. I hate my fourth car. That fourth one can go, like, sit there a little bit more. I hate that one so much. I hate it. I hate it. Okay. I hate it so much. Is it wiring? The fucking wiring!
So, what's gonna be your next color that you don't need?
What do you mean by that?
You don't need any more cars, but what's going to be the next one?
Oh, okay. I'm debating.
Oh.
So,
Porsche.
there's 3 cars I'm looking at. 3. You can't see them, but they're doing 3. So 3. Before I got Henry, I was supposed to get a 2004 Mustang GT. Had a 5.0, 5-speed manual transmission. It was built for about 700 horsepower. This dude was so filthy rich, he only wanted $1,000 for it. And that's literally the only reason why I got my first job, was to buy this Mustang for $1,000. And he said, I'll even teach you how to drive this Mustang, but you have to promise me one thing. You cannot race this Mustang. So, I was gonna disobey that, I'm not gonna lie. So, when I was gonna buy this Mustang, my parents did spend my grand on other shit. So while I was saving up for this Mustang that I was going to buy, they were going behind my back and spending it. So it is what it is. Oh well, whatever. I've always wanted a Mustang, just because I will say it wasn't mine officially, but I did consider it as mine. I want a 5.0. I don't want any of these newer ones. The newer ones, they look nice, but they're all over the place. What I really, really want is a Cobra, a Terminator, just something that isn't just bland. I want that bitch to fucking whine. I want that thing to be spinning in first and second gear and barely catching third. I want that thing to have so much fucking power that it scares me to drive it. I want all my cars to be like that. But I've always wanted a Mustang, so I do plan on getting a Mustang. If you do have a Mustang for sale though, let me know and I will try and I want to buy one. So if you do have one, let me know. But also another car I was supposed to get was in 1998, 97 or something. I was supposed to get a Firebird. It was a V6, yes, so it was an automatic, but it was still a car for me. It was a convertible. I thought it was cool. It is what it is, right? But I just think WS6s look so fucking nice. So I want a WS6. It has to have that manual transmission. Obviously the WS6s do come with them. But just because of Henry, I do want one with a 3.8. You can push some serious power out of 3.8s. I will keep saying this till the day I die. But if I do get an LT1, then I'm going to swap that bitch for an LS20. It is what it is. So it's either I go for one with a 3.8, it has to have that manual transmission, or I get a WS6, an LS1, a manual transmission. Obviously, a lot of people go with the WS6. I'm aiming for a WS6, but if I can get my hands on a 3.8 with a manual, I'm going for that, because those bitches are hard to find. My fourth one, I'm a bit influenced on this. I want a big money waster. BMW. I want a BMW E46 or an E92, a coupe. But I really, really like wagons. Wagons are my thing, bro. Fun fact, actually, they actually made these in wagons. They're relevant as fuck. I like wagons. Definitely want to watch something like that. In 54s, my buddies have one, have two. And just me and him talking about them, they are really, really interesting engines, and I honestly can't wait to maybe even get one one day. My fourth one, 2016 Koenigsegg Agera RS, right? I want that shit in Koenigsegg's Cobalt Blue. Yup, absolutely, that's what I would want. Well, you can all dream though. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the cars that I really want.
So, I understand I'm in your car club. So, tell us about it.
So, Sundown Riders, a lot of people kind of look at us right now, and I do get y'all's point. Right now, we look really slow, and we look pretty basic. But if we're being completely real, and this kind of goes back to what I'm saying about the love of car scene earlier, it's all the same stuff. You go to a car meet, and there is the daily traffic, but you also see the same Mustangs, the same Camaros, the same Challengers, the same Vets. Don't get me wrong, this stuff's cool. Except for the Challengers. I hate Challengers. And Chargers. Don't fucking think I don't like Chargers either. I fucking hate them as well. I hate any Chrysler product. I will say that till the day I die as well. But with that, my car group, I want us to be different, you know? Like, I don't want us to be like, oh, you know, like, hey, you can be in our car group, you can have these fast cars, but you can only keep them in the garage. I don't want that. Cars are meant to be driven, pushed to the limits. So it's like, I don't want for my cars to just sit there and be basic. That's why I said, like, with each car that I have, Henry was supposed to be the daily, Rito was supposed to be the rally, Boo was supposed to be the street, and then the Century is just supposed to be the Brooks. I want the car in each kind of section of the car scene, but with my car group, it's really interesting because you have to kind of get to know all the members. Everyone has their own tastes. Everyone has their own opinions, and that's what makes it fun. My car group isn't really more where we're just gonna cater you. My car group has a lot of shit talking, and has a lot of people getting pushed. I want for my guys to not only be the best and love it, but also be the fastest in these days. I know we're not aesthetically pleasing right now. I do like our banners though. I know a lot of people walked up and said that our banners look nice. I will admit, yeah, my VP made a great fucking choice about the banners. Definitely better than the last name. We won't talk about the last name. But with the group, we don't really talk about this a lot, but there are monsters in the making of this car. There's a lot of people that sit there and say, oh, they're slow. There's a reason why we're slow. A lot of people in this car group have cars that are project cars right now that will eventually come out one of these days, and the love of car scene will look at it and be like, that is fucking cool. Who are you part of? Is that not riders? No. Are you serious? Like, it's so crazy because it doesn't take a lot to be different, and it doesn't take a lot to be fast as well. A lot of people in the love of car scene though, it's the same stuff over and over and over again. My group, we actually go out and we try to do stuff. We actually go out and we try to fucking race. We're not gonna go racing down like Avenue Q or whatever, like all these places we're smart about it. There are videos on our Instagram of us going out to buttfuck middle nowhere and racing these cars. Yes, they are stock, most of them, and most of them are pretty basic. However, you don't see these cars racing. So if you were, the way that I see it, if you were high school and you want a cool car but you don't know what to get, but you want something like a Volkswagen, there's a guy in my car group that drives a Volkswagen that can specifically tell you, go for this one's cool. Or there's this other chick that's just like, I like X-Cop cars. There's a bit of diversity in my car group that isn't really more the same stuff. There's people in my car group that have just really basic cars, but monsters. I would keep saying that. There are monsters in my car group that you don't even know about just because they're still in progress. And while everybody else is doing fuck all with their Mustangs and Camaros and everything, my car group is eventually going to be the fastest. It's inevitable, I will say that. And if not, then it's just one of my members will be up there with me fastest. And I will say, there's a lot of going up there, but it's got to balance some stuff. So, I won't yap too much about my car group. We're not the best right now, but we eventually will. I want my car group to be the best. I want my car group to be the fastest. But if you really, really look down more into the bones, it all started in a high school cafeteria with just friends being friends and eventually saying, let's do something cool. Let's make a car group. Okay, cool. And eventually it all started with Henry. And I guess it's kind of another reason why I really like him. But this car group, there is a lot of lore. You just got to get to know it. My car group is we are always open to anybody. Like if you ever want a car group to join us. But we understand if you don't like some things that we do. We also don't like some things that other people are going to do. I will tell you one thing, my car group may go out there and race, and we may drive cars that aren't legal, right? But safety is number one priority in my car group, meaning that if you are not comfortable with something, let us know. If you need help, let us know. We take mental health very seriously. Like, we are not like every other car group that expects you to come out. We understand you are a grown up, you have things to do, you have kids. There are people in my car group that also have kids. There are people in my car group that are never really in the group as much. It is what it is. Things happen. But my group is kind of really more on the lenient side from what I've been told, because I've had people come into my group and tell me things about other groups that are just like, wow, like, how can you even deal with that? But eventually those members do leave my group. It is what it is. Oh well. But my car group, we're all right. You just gotta get to know us. I'll just leave it at that.
So, what's one thing you've learned from the car community?
Okay. So this one. A lot of people talk a lot of shit, but don't back it up. I know I'm talking a lot of shit probably in this video, but I will say I will and do have the balls to back this up. The car group is one hell of a fucking place. There are friends to be made in the car group, but there are definitely a lot of people that are going to hate you. With the car group, or not the car group, with the car scene here in Lubbock, most of the stuff you go to isn't really worth it, but some other stuff is. It's really more, the way that I look about it is, you just gotta learn to find your group of people to go out and have fun. That's what the cars are. They're meant for everybody. They're meant for everybody to have some sort of connection with one another, making new friends, you know, just hanging out, enjoying yourself, right? Now, the car scene here in Lubbock, it's really toxic. So if you're gonna post something in the Lubbock car scene, you better be ready to experience at least some sort of toxicity. It's always some guy that says, your car's slow or whatever, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But they drive the most basic thing, a bone stock 5.0 or like a Hellcat. And all it is full bolt-ons, E85, and like cold air intake. That's cool and all, right? But everybody does that. You know, do something cool. Buy something, like buy a cool car. Buy something that is unique. Be you. You don't have to fit in with everybody. So, I think the one thing that kind of brings this toxicity out is, if I were to pull up and eat this, it's something different. It's bone stock, yes. There's not a lot you can do with this car. But if I were to case swap it and manual swap it, a lot of people would just look on the outside and be like, that's a piece of shit. Well, a lot of people don't understand that that piece of shit would probably make you shit yourself. But with the Lubbock car scene, it's really toxic. So the one thing I have learned about it is take everything with a grain of salt, because if you don't, then you're gonna get your feelings hurt. And the Lubbock car scene isn't meant for a lot of people. And I think if you were to go onto the Facebook, there are 8.1 thousand members in that. But you can go to any event and it's nobody. I know that there are cars out there that would probably like blow the absolute water like out of the Lubbock car scene, make everybody their bitch. It's just they don't come out. And I really wish the car scene was really more of a bigger and abundant car scene, but it's really more the same stuff. And if you're not in that same stuff, like if you don't drive a Mustang, Camaro, Corvette, or anything, you're nothing. You are just an NPC. And it is what it is. Like, yeah, they can have their own opinions. I have my own opinions. It is what it is. That's what makes society society. But what I've learned is just It sucks. Sometimes it does suck. Sometimes it's cool. So I'll leave it at that. Car seat's not meant for everybody. Just one of my takes, I guess. If that kind of answers it.
Getting pretty deep with that one, huh?
Getting kind of deep about that one, I will say yes, but like I said, there's probably not even a lot of people that are even gonna like actually be like, wait a minute, this kid's on me something.
Yeah.
I have some really hot takes, man. You just gotta ask me.
That's perfectly fine.
You just gotta ask me. I will give you my straight up honest opinion about a lot of stuff. You just gotta ask me. So if you ever see me at a meet, ask me something. I'll give you the cold hard truth.
Alright. So, last question we got here.
Cool.
End off this 40-minute video for you. So, what's some words of wisdom you can give?
Well, I guess I kind of already gave that already. But, be who you want to be and don't let everybody else turn you into something you are.
So, Ramon, thanks for coming out, showing us what you got. Anything else you need to say?
I would say that that's probably about it.
Got it.
But I will say that in my 1996 Buick Century Stage Dragon with a 3.8 front-wheel drive 4-speed automatic 4T60E transmission, my exhaust did not fit rental car time. That is all I have.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully get a recap when you get one of them running again. Maybe.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
All right, man. Thank you.